Okay, sorry for interruption. Okay, so there was some problem. Okay, so I'll continue again. Okay, I was giving example of different occupational immune-mediated condition that occurs in response to inhaled antigen that are small enough to be deposited in the distal airway, okay, mainly the alveoli and the small airways, okay. So this hypersensitivity pneumonitis, it results from either type 3 and type 4 immunological mechanism or hypersensitivity reaction. Okay, so the type 3, it is because of this immune mediated hypersensitivity reaction, and type 4 it is because of the delayed hypersensitivity reaction to the antigen. Okay, so it is because of type 3 or type 4 hypersensitivity reaction. And precipitating IgG antibodies may be detected in the serum and type 3 Arthus reaction. Okay, so this Arthus reaction, it is a type of local vasculitis which is associated with deposition of this antigen and antibody complexes in the vascular wall. Okay, so in this case, it occurs in the lung, vessels of the lung, okay, where the precipitation of the immune complexes result in activation of complement. So immune complexes, it gets deposited and it activates the complement and the inflammatory response in the alveolar wall, characterized by influx of mononuclear cells and forming histiocytes. Okay, so this is the pathology. And the presence of poorly formed non-cageating granuloma in the alveolar wall suggests type 4 response is also important, and the distribution of the inflammatory infiltrates is predominantly peribronchial. Okay, chronic forms of the disease may be accompanied by fibrosis. So in chronic cases, you may be able to see the fibrosis, but for some reason, okay, so there is a lower incidence of this hypersensitivity pneumonitis in smokers as compared to non-smokers. So non-smokers, they are more prone to get hypersensitivity pneumonitis than the smokers. Okay, so what are the clinical features then? Okay, so the clinical features, it generally depends on the amount of antigen that is exposed. Okay, so presentation varies from acute form to a more indolent pattern according to the antigen load. So how much antigen load the patient has inhaled, the clinical features, it is varying. Okay, so acute form may present within an hour influenza-like symptoms accompanied by cough, breathlessness, and wheeze. Okay, so in acute form, if the patient is exposed to a large amount of antigen, okay, so the patient may present with acute symptoms of cough, breathlessness, and wheezes. Okay, sometimes individual may be exposed to low level of antigen, and they present with more present in more indolent fashion with slowly progressive breathlessness. Okay, so breathlessness will be there, but it will not be acute in onset. Okay, so it will be slowly progressive breathlessness, and sometimes these patient may also have established fibrosis. Okay, so at the time you diagnose the patient already has fibrosis, and when you ask about the history, they may be having this mild to moderate breathlessness in the past as well. Okay, and when you're auscultating the patient, you can get inspiratory crackles. Okay, so the clinical features, it has been traditionally categorized as having acute, subacute, and chronic. Okay, so acute hypersensitivity pneumonitis usually manifests within 4 to 8 hours following exposure to any antigen. often intense in nature. Okay, large amount of antigen which may be intense in nature. And systemic symptoms includes fever, chills, and malaise, and are prominent and accompanied by dyspnea. Okay, so the patient will have dyspnea, the patient will have fever, chills, and malaise. Okay, so these symptoms which the patient have may resolve within hours or days if no further exposure of the offending antigen occurs. Okay, so if the exposure to antigen is stopped, okay, the symptoms it may resolve within few hours or days. This is acute hypersensitivity pneumonitis. But in cases of subacute, it results from ongoing antigen exposure. So the patient continues to have exposure to the antigen. The onset of respiratory and systemic symptom is typically more gradual over the course of weeks. So in acute form, it may develop within a few hours, okay, but it will take around days and weeks for the patient who has acute subacute hypersensitivity pneumonitis to develop the symptoms. Okay, a similar presentation may occur in intermittent episodes of acute hypersensitivity reaction. Okay, so if the patient is having repeated episodes of acute hypersensitivity reaction, also the patient we may get confused with subacute forms. Okay, although respiratory impairment may be quite severe, antigen avoidance generally results in resolution of the symptom, although with the slow time course or the order of occurrence. So with cessation of the exposure to the antigen, symptoms may resolve, but it may take longer time than that occurs in patient with acute form. Okay, and the chronic hypersensitivity reaction can present even more gradual onset of symptoms than subacute hypersensitivity pneumonitis, with progressive dyspnea, cough, fatigue, weight loss, and digital flapping. Okay, and as we already said, okay, so these patients who have chronic hypersensitivity pneumonitis, they may be diagnosed when they already have fibrosis of the lungs. Okay, for the investigation, what do we do? In case of acute hypersensitivity pneumonitis, okay, so first of all, we do the radiological investigations, chest X-ray. Okay, chest X-ray will show ill-defined patchy airspace shadowing, which may be confused with pneumonia. Okay, so you do the X-ray. Okay, patchy shadowing is there, and you get confused with pneumonia. So you treat first of all for the pneumonia. We cannot get resolved with treatment with the antibiotics. Okay, you have to think about other differential diagnosis. Okay, now you ask the patient to go for the high resolution CT scan. Okay, or HRCT, high resolution CT scan, and it is more likely to show bilateral glass shadowing and area of consolidation superimposed on small central lobular nodules opacities within the upper and the middle lobe. Okay, so the reason it may be in the upper and the middle lobe with ground glass shadowing. Okay, and in more chronic form, as we've already said, there may be features of fibrosis, and with fibrosis there will be voluminous linear opacities, the architectural distortion may be there. Okay, the other test that we can do is the pulmonary function test, which shows the restrictive ventilatory defect. Okay, so restrictive ventilatory defect will be there, and type 1 respiratory failure may be there when you are doing the ABC. Continuing with the diagnosis, okay, so it is generally based on the characteristic clinical and radiological feature. Okay, so what is the clinical feature? What is the history regarding the exposure to different occupational exposure, which may be responsible for antigen, okay, and radiological feature, together with identification of potential source of antigen. Okay, so we also have to know the potential source of antigen that may be present at home or at the workplace. Okay, because stopping of the exposure to these antigen is one of the main treatment for the patient who has occupational lung. This is due to organic dust. Okay, Similarly, this positive serum precipitate test may be done if we are thinking of this hypersensitivity reactions. So it will be positive in a patient who has antibody antigen complexes. Okay, so precipitin tests can also be done. Now regarding the management, okay, so as we have already said, we have to stop exposure to the inciting agent. Okay, so if it is practical, you should stop the exposure to the offending agent. Okay, but most of the time it may not be possible. Okay, so at that time you may have to ask the patient to use the dust mask with appropriate filter, and sometimes this respiratory protection equipments may be advised to the patient. Okay, so and then this mask may be combined with method of reducing the level of antigen. Okay, so if it is because of hay, okay, before storing the hay, you can dry the hay so that the load of antigen it is decreased. Okay, so different methods can be implicated so as to decrease the antigen load. Okay, so management in acute cases, there is role of steroid. Okay, so prednisolone, it should be given at the dose of 3 to 4 weeks, starting with the oral dose of 4 mg, 40 mg per day. Okay, generally it is given at the dose of 1 mg per kg per day. Okay, and sometimes if the patient is very hypoxemic, okay, we may have to think about giving the concentrated oxygen therapy. Okay. Okay, so most of the patients, okay, they may recover completely, but if the exposure is continued, okay, the patient may land up in chronic phases where there may be fibrosis. Okay, so the fibrosis which progresses may cause different complications. Okay, so the patient may present with severe respiratory disability, hypoxemia, pulmonary hypertension, core pulmonary, and even death. Okay, so lastly, inhalation humidifier fever. Okay, so it is similar to this hypersensitivity pneumonitis, and it occurs as a result of contaminated humidifier. Okay, so in a place where this contaminated humidifier or the air conditions are used or are cleaned. Okay, so the patient, they are more prone to get this inhalation humidifier pneumonia. Okay, or air conditioning unit that release a fine spray of microorganism into the atmosphere. Okay, so the illness, it is characterized as self-limiting fever and breathlessness, and permanent sequelae is unusual. Okay, so this was all regarding the occupational lung diseases. Okay, so does anyone have any question? Okay, otherwise we'll stop it here. Okay, we'll stop it here.